Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
It's a damp squib then in Bridgetown, Barbados, as England's start to their title defence at the 2024 Men's T20 World Cup sees an abandoned game against Scotland. Rain ruling the roost. A half-an-hour delay at the start of the game. Scotland got to bat 10 overs, but spanning 3 hours, and then England's chase couldn't even start, with the heavens taking over in Bridgetown. We look back on that point lost or won, whichever way you look at it, and examine the consequence of that result on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout in the company of Wasim Jaffer here in our studio and Nick Knight, who joins us from the UK. I'll come to you first, Nick. What do you make of that result? The 10 overs that we did see saw Scotland put on quite a score. It felt like the 10-over contest would be quite the contest, with a 109-run target for England, but eventually no result here.
Was in at least some more cricket, because I mean Scotland did themselves proud, didn't they? I thought the way they started the game, I thought their decision at the toss was very worthy. I thought it was the right decision for them. It would have been easy for them just to say, go on England, you're the stronger side on paper, you have a go, we'll chase whatever. So I thought that set a good tone for them. I thought their openers were terrific, and they would have backed themselves to win that game from that position. I mean, that's why we really need to see that out, because it's hard to be too critical of England at this point with the bat, because you know there's a good chance they could have chased that down. It would have been a great effort. But then you look at more England's bowling. I mean, if they'd been 51 for 3 there from 6.2, so if they'd have picked up some early wickets, obviously they had that no ball chance that was taken, then the no ball. I just feel then obviously the run chase would have been different. It would have been down to the sort of mid-90s, something like that, which would have changed the context of the run chase. So England weren't at their best with the new ball, absolutely. Scotland very good.
Yeah, as Nick sums it up, there's so many what-ifs to this game, and usually when you see a washout in a game involving a strong side and an associate, you tend to look at it as, oh, okay, it might be a point lost for the stronger side, but Scotland have a case to say that we had a chance to get the 2 points here.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the way they started, their intent, their ball striking, considering the last game they played was a variable bounce. It wasn't coming onto the bat, but they batted beautifully. I mean, George Munsey hitting that reverse sweep for 6, probably the shot of the day of that short innings. But yeah, they were very impressive. They would have felt, yeah, they lost a point here. They to get 90 off 10 overs is a creditable achievement, and yeah, they would have fancied their chances for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about that England bowling effort. I mean, there's only so much I know we can look into a game which was only 10 overs, and that too with rain all over in the middle. But we did get to see 2 overs of Jofra Archer with the new ball. Nick, what were your first impressions of how England bowled with the new ball, and in particular Jofra Archer?
Okay, I go back to what I said at the start of the show when we were setting the game up. I said just take it easy on Jofra Archer, because he's nowhere near his back to his best. It's going to take time, and I felt that prep showed out in the 2 overs that he bowled. I thought with a more general view of England, I was a little surprised that they bowled outside of off stump. It's first game. Let's give them a bit of rope, because I don't know whether they were trying to do that. I mean, when there's uneven bounce and there was just evidence of it, the bells ring in the mind, and it's just go at the stumps. I thought England could have bowled at the stumps a little bit more with the pace and the new ball. But yeah, Archer will get better and better as this tournament goes on, for sure. I thought there were some encouraging signs for Mark Wood. I mean, in that first over, he was clicking up at 150. Wow. I mean, he's raring and ready to go. So they've got all the resources there. I just feel a bit uncomfortable about sort of being too analytical about a handful of overs, 2 overs, when the tournament's just getting going. So I think they'll be better for it, for sure. But the truth is that New England weren't at their best with the ball.
Yeah, fair point. We take that. And Nick brought up the uneven bounce. That is worth spending a minute on, because we'd seen one game at Bridgetown before this, which was that Namibia-Oman 109, which ended in a tie. And in this one, while there was rain in the first 6 overs, which were uninterrupted, you saw a couple of balls which went on the bounce to Jos Buttler, bowled by the English pacers. Are these worrying signs for the nature of the surface here?
Little bit, yes. The bounce was more on the lower side than the other way around, and yeah, I mean, not so much because it's not too paced. It's not like it's going up and down. It's going down more than up. So yeah, at times it makes it more difficult. But that's been the case in the first inning. This is a used pitch. They played on the same pitch that played before. So you got to give credit to how Scotland batted on that pitch, knowing that it's a used pitch. Probably that's why the decision to bat first was considering that it's a used pitch. They'll probably have runs on the board, but obviously that didn't happen. But yeah, I thought that is something worrying going forward in the tournament. But considering it's going to be in West Indies, the pitches are going to behave like that. We are not going to see very high scoring games anyway.
Just looking at it from a forward perspective for England, Nick, the next game now is Australia, which now is a game that, given the washout here, more than the point that they've potentially lost, England will rue the opportunity that players have lost to just spend 40 overs out there and get a better gauge of the conditions before going into a clash as high billing as one against Australia.
Yeah, I mean, Australia are playing here as well, aren't they? They've got a couple of games close, back to back almost. So, I think England will be fairly philosophical right now about what's ahead. I think they'll be very realistic about the way things went in that first 10 overs. And they'll roll over one moment, think, hang on a minute, we might have avoided a loss there with the rain and the way things went in those 10 overs. And then another time they'll look back, we've got a really top batting side, we'd have chased that down anyway. I mean, it's all in the ether. I think, it does make it a little bit more tougher for them now, absolutely. But then, of course, we don't quite know if there's rain around, the Caribbean and America, we don't quite know whether other games will be affected in the same way. So you can't really think too much further ahead. I mean, realistically, England will back themselves to beat Australia, and then they'll put themselves back in contention.
Yeah, we're sure to have a look at the weather forecasts a lot more, because while that Australia-England game is only days away, there are 2 matches at Bridgetown before that game, a game pretty much every day from now until then. Australia take on Oman, Namibia take on Scotland before Australia face England. We will leave it at that. Thank you, Wasim Jaffer, Nick Knight. I was looking forward to a long evening with your company, but unfortunately rain's taken over. But I thank you two gentlemen for your time and thoughts with us today. If you are of an English leaning and you're into your omens, this is a good sign in a way, because 2010 back in West Indies, the first game of England's campaign was against West Indies. Rain played its part. Back then, England couldn't avoid the loss because West Indies were given a rain-reduced target which they chased down in 6 overs. And you even go back to 2022, where England again won the title, and they had a rain-affected defeat to Ireland. So rain does tend to bode well for England at these tournaments. We'll see how they pick up the pieces now when they take on Australia. In the meantime, the tournament is coming thick and fast. Netherlands, Nepal, there are so many games coming through. The ESPN Cricket Info mobile app will have you covered with everything. Be sure to download it. And be sure to join us again. Wednesday comes with India starting their campaign. They take on Ireland. We begin our coverage just a little before toss time. So be sure to join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.